Okay, I want to make this very simple for people. I was going to use a whiteboard, but I think I can just do it with my hands and explaining it. But here's what happens to so many people where they get in trouble. So when you're young and you have no kids, you're single, you have an entry level job, maybe you're in your early, mid, late 20s, you haven't got those promotions, so it's not like super stressful or demanding. You can train a lot, right? You can maybe spend 5, 6 days a week in the gym. You're working out for 2 hours. You don't have any responsibilities outside of work, so you have time, and your nutrition can be a little bit sloppy, and you can still get results or not gain weight. But then what happens to people is life. They get promoted. There's more stress, demands, managing people. They have kids. They get married. There's more obligations, running here, running there, and then they can't train like they did when they were 24 anymore. So it comes down, they can't train as intently, and now their nutrition is still a little bit sloppy, and then they start gaining weight, right? That's what happens. They're like, oh my gosh, what happened? It's like, well, you're not 24 anymore, spending 15 hours a week in the gym, yeah? So at this point, you have two choices, right? You can either figure out a way to train like you did when you were 24 again, which is very unlikely, or maybe not even possible for most people, right? Or you can improve your nutrition and keep your training at maybe 2 or 3 days a week for an hour a piece or whatever the case may be. This is the route that people need to often take. And this is the problem, that when you're not as active as you were when you're younger, your nutrition needs to be more dialed in. You got away with your nutrition being sloppy and drinking too much, eating like crap, being a little bit loose with it because you train so hard. People say you can't out train a bad diet. You certainly can. Like if you're killing yourself, like think of remember like Michael Phelps 15 years ago when he was like in the Olympics or whatever, and they said he ate 10,000 calories a day, and a lot of it was like cheeseburgers, fries, shakes. He had to eat so much because he was spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day in the tank. It's somewhat similar here on obviously a smaller level, but when you're training that hard, you can get away with nutrition being sloppy. But here's what I always recommend is if your nutrition is always dialed in, you're good. It's like the insurance policy. It's not sexy. Everyone always wants to talk about, the training and the workouts and all that fun stuff, right? It's like the stocks, it's like the investing. Everyone wants to talk about that, but when it comes to insurance on your house and car, like that's not fun stuff to talk about, but it's obviously necessary because if you don't have that in place, you're screwed if something unfortunate happens. So when your nutrition is dialed in and you're good, training can come and go. You might have a bad back, hurt your knee, you might be traveling a lot, work gets more demanding. Like this is always very cyclical. But if you find a way to keep your nutrition really good, you're always going to be good. You won't gain weight. You'll keep your weight off because your nutrition is at a level where it can make up for inconsistent training. Sometimes you might not always have the time to train, but your nutrition, you have to eat to live, right? So you always have more control in your nutrition than you do your training at times in seasons of life. Hopefully that makes sense, something to think about.